treasure coast choice. I am, you are, we are Vero's voice. Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the Vero's Voice podcast. My name is Doolin, and I'm sitting across from Mr. Rod Costner today, a local filmmaker. And Rod created a little film called Bob from Vero Beach. It's a fun little film. Kind of reminded me a lot of my childhood, if I'm being honest. It feels like the type of film I would have watched growing up. So, Rod, are you from Vero Beach?
No, I grew up in Alabama, lived
Okay.
in Oklahoma for a long time, and my wife and I moved down here about 3 years ago.
Okay. What brought you to Vero?
When we were living in Oklahoma, but she grew up in Arizona. I also lived on the panhandle of Florida a little bit when I was a kid. So we both liked warm weather and we both like water.
Okay.
And so we, about 3 years ago,
Uh-huh.
we were in a transition. I had worked at a university for about a dozen years and was leaving there. And so we started looking and it seemed like Vero was a great place and we've loved living here.
Yeah. So you came here, you laid down roots, and you just really came to enjoy it. And then you decided you were going to make a movie set right here in Vero Beach. So before I get into that, though, is filmmaking kind of like a long-time passion for you? Something you've been doing for a lot of years?
Yes, I'm a creative.
Yeah.
And so I've done music. I started playing guitar when I was a teenager, done a lot of music. And so I was doing that, and then I kind of got into photography, and then I drifted into filmmaking, and then before Bob, I made quite a few short films.
Okay.
You know,
What are some of the other short films that you've put together?
I made a film called Stone Free, which is kind of a supernatural. You know, is this guy an angel or not?
Oh, fun.
Kind
Okay.
of, and
It's kind of left ambiguous, made you
a
think
little
about it.
bit.
Okay.
By the end, you kind of figure he is an angel.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a crime story with an angel in it.
Okay.
And I made a short down here not long after I got here called Orchid Island.
Okay.
And it's a little rom-com. And
All right.
I made that one when I first got down here. And then I decided, hey, I want to undertake a feature film. And my wife is hugely supportive, but but it's kind of like somebody might think making 4 short films is the equivalent of making 1 feature, and that is not true at all.
No.
Making 1 feature is like making 104 short films.
So it was very time consuming.
Time consuming, money consuming, brain power consuming. I mean, it was an undertaking, but
Yeah.
I feel a lot of satisfaction from doing it.
But how long did it take you from conception to writing to filming and producing rap? Like, this is I think the movie's about an hour and 20 minutes long. So about how long did it take you to put all that together?
So people ask me, how do you write your scripts?
Yeah.
Because I write all my movies too. So
Yeah.
usually, and I think a lot of writers may be this way, I have like 10 scripts in the channel.
Yeah.
And then
Like written or concepts?
concepts written to some degree.
Yeah.
So like I'm getting ready to shoot another short film, and that was a script I started a long time ago, and I came back to recently.
Okay.
Bob was that way too, and I had this idea that I wanted to do kind of a what I would call a family comedy.
Yeah.
That was an homage to The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Right.
And so I had it for a few years, and then in 2023, I decided I'm going to go ahead and finish it and shoot it.
Okay.
Shooting it from script to finishing the film at that point was probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
So
You don't mind me asking, like, what kind of budget did you sink into this thing? Because I mean, I know filmmaking, even indie film, it's not cheap. It's you got to sink some money into it.
well, what I would tell people is it was a car.
It was a car. Okay, that's fair. I mean, for a film like that, that sounds about right, honestly.
So I would tell you this: the interesting thing about that is if you make a movie for under $1 million, pretty much that's considered no budget, not low budget,
Yeah.
no budget
For under
filmmaking.
$1 million.
For
I mean,
under $1 million, it's no budget.
Yeah, and you got to think, like, if I were to make, somebody like, hey, we can put this together for $450,000. If you put the money up front, I ain't got it, man. I don't have that kind of money, and that's a no budget movie.
So, and I have a what do you call it? An investor angel or whatever you call it.
Okay.
A benefactor.
Okay, that's
I'm
nice.
married to her. I've been married to her for a long time.
Yeah, we call those a sugar mama.
But I always tell her, hey, I don't have a bass boat or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't have any motorcycles anymore or anything. So this is my kind of my thing.
This is my creative focus. This is like there are so many worse things I could be out there doing. I just want to make movies and tell stories.
Yep.
Was there so you moved here 3 years ago and you had this idea for like a family comedy that's kind of an homage to Creature from the Black Lagoon, and you're coming up with the setting and you're like, we're right here on the beach in the Indian River Lagoon. Why not just set it right here in Vero Beach, right?
Right.
And I thought, and it was like, and I watched the movie this morning before I watched it, and like me being a native, like I was born and raised here and stuff, so I immediately I'm like, oh, Riverside Park, oh, they're over there by Riverside Cafe right now, like, oh, that's where the kayaks launch, where they're sitting there drinking the beers, So I mean, I can see oh, now they're over there by JC Beach, I know right where they are. But I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about it, especially if you're a local, is like the backdrop that it serves. It's just it's all the places that it's all the places that you've seen, that I've seen thousands if not millions of times growing up, living here and stuff. But it was really cool. So as I'm watching it, I feel a very it's a local connection to this movie.
Yeah. So a couple things there. One of the things is that first of all, my wife and I love Vero Beach. I'll hear people move here from New York or California and they whine and complain the whole time, and I'm kind of like, y'all must be somewhere else than we are. Yeah. Because, it's as far as hustling and bustling, it's kind of a little bit quieter. I get that for some people, but man, it's beautiful and we love it here. But one of the things that indie filmmakers do is, so if you're like a big budget Hollywood filmmaker, you write a script and then maybe you start looking for locations. But because of resources and things, a good thing for an indie filmmaker to do is see a location and say, hey, I could do something with this. So I think Vero is awesome because it's got so many beautiful places. When I lived in Oklahoma and there was ice hanging off the trees, right, I might watch a golf tournament taking place in San Diego, and it would lift my spirits. So when you make a film of this beautiful tropical paradise place, that doesn't hurt. And so there's so many interesting places here too. Yeah. But one thing I would say is, I could write a book on what not to do when making a film. So one of the things is, for instance, don't shoot on the beach.
Because of the noise,
the
right?
audio.
Yeah. Oh,
you're not going to be. You're going to have to ADR, which is where you go back and replace it.
So is this why a lot of the scenes in the movie kind of take place more on the lagoon rather than the beach? Because I think there's I think there's even some there's some scenes that took place on the beach where I'm like, and I was thinking, I'm like, oh man, the audio must have been terrible for this. Like,
probably, I don't know, man. It may be as much as 60 or 70% of the audio was ADR'd.
And they just
so I have a thing. I have a setup, a kind of a miniature of what you have here, right? And I have a booth, and they had to come back in, and I use an Apple program called Logic. Yeah, and they can see the video, and they talk, and I record the fresh video over it. Right, and you have to sync all that up. That's
got to be hard.
Maybe thousands of hours.
Were they like, so were the actors then looking at the video of themselves trying to dub over their own voices?
Yeah, and a lot of actors too, it will be kind of a nervous process for them. But usually once they start getting kind of the hang of it, and because it's, but it's a lot of work. Another thing, like writing a book about what not to do, is don't have the star be in a latex bodysuit.
I was thinking that the whole time I'm watching this movie. I'm like, that's got to be so uncomfortable. Who is your actor who played Bob?
Okay, Bob is Will Harris, and he's this young guy from Melbourne.
Okay, so he's close to local.
Everybody for the most part lives somewhere near here. Again, resources. Yeah. I had a guy that wanted to come in being the film that like from California.
Oh, gosh.
And you'll even have people that might say, I'll pay my own expenses because if they like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to treat somebody that way, though. So everybody that worked on it, unless somebody just desperately wouldn't take the money. I had one young lady that worked on the film. She wouldn't, she wanted to be a part of the project, and she wouldn't take money. But everybody else pretty much got paid something, not what they deserved.
Right.
But I'm very honest with them. I'm going to try to make it where you're not losing money.
Yeah.
Your expenses are paid and a little something for the effort.
Well, like I've done I've talked about it on the show before. I've done a lot of community theater and stuff. Anybody in community theater are they're unpaid. They just do it for the love of the game, as they say. They're creatives like you. And a lot of creatives will be creative just for the sake of being creative and getting out there and showing their craft and telling a story.
Yeah, well, and going back to Will though, so first of all, it's hot.
Yeah,
and it's hot.
I could tell.
And by the end of the
that thing doesn't breathe.
I got a guy in Orlando that does special effects type stuff and late prosthetic type mask and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I got him to do that for he did. Ultimately, it was a pretty good job, but we only had one of those.
Only one suit.
One suit, and so when he jumps in the water at the end, we had one take on that. Really, we did two, but one of the problems was too the actress was going to get her hair wet and everything. So
was that going to ruin the suit jumping into the water like that?
It got pretty funky in there.
Yeah.
He said, but the other thing was, virtually 99% of his dialogue is all ADR'd. It's replaced. Yeah. We had to have him come back because the mask was messing with the clarity of his words.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's talk about Bob the character for a minute. So you have in this story you have Bob the Fishman merman. I don't know what manfish. Okay, Bob the manfish, a wisecracking movie quoting manfish creature that comes out of the Indian River Lagoon. So I know you said you wanted to be an homage to the creature from the Black Lagoon, but like, where did you make the connection there? Like he absolutely loves Tom Cruise and modern movies, and I know it's just a silly comedy, but I'm thinking like, how does he watch movies? But it doesn't really matter, obviously. But I'm curious. So tell me a little, like, how you came up with this character.
So first of all, when I was a kid, I used to love the old monster movies. Mm-hmm. Where I mainly grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, and on Friday night they would have Shock Theater, and they would show the old werewolf, like black and white movies and stuff like
Universal
that.
Films,
the Dracula and that. Mm-hmm. And then it seemed like on the afternoon sometimes you could find they would be showing the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I just really thought it was a cool movie because I've always liked the beach and water and stuff like that. So now I have a monster and I have this, so I was a fan of that. Mm-hmm. And then I think that the number one thing I shoot for is to be entertaining. Mm-hmm. And like my wife and I, we're not really into watching raunchy stuff. We like to watch stuff that's pretty clean and stuff. And so I kind of wanted to make the movie that I was looking for. And I do think there's an audience out there, people that have what I would say is a Christian worldview, that they're looking for stuff to watch, mm-hmm. and they don't want necessarily children's stuff. Yeah. But they don't want Quentin Tarantino either necessarily. He's made some good films.
He's made some great films, but not family friendly.
But they're not. Yeah, they're not family friendly. So my thing is, I try to make films that I would be looking for if I wanted to watch one. Yeah. And then I'm a cinephile, so my wife can tell you that when I talk, it's just filled with quotes. Anything you say to me, I may pop a quote. And a lot of people are like, and they're like, I don't get it, and then you go, well, it's from such and such, and they go, well, I saw that one time, but how do you remember all that stuff? I don't know. But there are guys like, I know there are other guys. When you find another one,
it's like my best friend of 30 years. We were kids together. We watched movies together, and whenever we get together, we pretty much communicate solely through movie quotes. And so once we get going, and his wife will just sit back like, oh, all right, they're at it again. We don't know what movie. What is that? Simpsons? I don't know.
So he's a Cinderella boy. So I'm caddying for the Dalai Lama over the Himalayas. Big hitter dilemma. So he's gonna stiff me for the tip. So I've played a lot of golf too. So of course we do that.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, and so I don't know. I don't know when it first dawned on me. Hey, I'm gonna have this guy. But by the way, the reason he comes out of the water is to see a Mission Impossible
he was going
movie.
to see a movie.
So apparently he sneaks into theaters and sees these films.
Nobody questions why a Fishman is sneaking into AMC theater, or whatever. But
well, how about Superman though? If you wear a pair of glasses, nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think it may be kind of along those lines.
Yeah. Well, what is it? He gets pulled over by a cop, and then the police officer is just like, oh, what are you going to a Star Wars convention or something like that? So it's like people see it and they just like, whatever, weirdo, just thinks it's a guy in a suit, which it is, but not in the case of the movie, obviously.
Right.
So,
Right.
No, it was a lot of fun though, and like I said, it reminded me of something I would have watched as a younger, maybe like 12, 13 years old. I would have been like, man, this is something I probably would have watched on a loop when I was a kid. Were there any real life Bobs, so to speak, that kind of inspired the character, or is it mostly just from you and your friends having watched movies for so many years?
Well, I mean, you put some of yourself in everything you do, pretty much.
Yeah.
So some of it is, my wife would say, there's a lot of it in me.
There's a lot of Bob in you.
So have you ever seen the television show Psych?
Yeah.
So he's this wisecracking guy, this kid, and he quotes movies all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I like that show, and my wife, you like it because you're just like, that's who you are.
Yeah.
But, so I question everything. And then just, I don't know, I just had the idea that he needed to be strong and colorful, and, he was the one doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I would say, too, is about the other actors, Christy DeMario
Mm-hmm.
and Sarah Faith,
Mm-hmm.
that played the wife, the mom and daughter, excuse me.
Hannah and Zoe?
The daughter is Zoe, Hannah is the mom.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand, though, when you're doing the more the straight part, that takes a lot of talent and
takes a lot
craft.
of talent to be the straight man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because you don't want to just be a piece of cardboard, but you have to navigate, not getting in each other's way. Sorry about that.
Sorry. Well, it's like, when you have the funny guy, obviously, if you have like a comedy duo and obviously Bob is the wisecracking person, you have the funny guy, but the funny guy doesn't have someone to bounce the one-liners off of, then the jokes are going to fall flat. So you need the straight person there, and it's always tough, and it's a thankless job because the funny guy is the one that gets the laughs, but he wouldn't get it if the straight man wasn't there.
Right, and so one of the things you learn. So I'm one of those guys that, I haven't been to film school at USC or something like that. So I've read a lot, I've watched, a ton of films, and I've learned by doing, and I still have a lot to learn, I know that.
Sure.
But one of the things you realize, so we shot with one camera. Now I have a couple of cinema cameras, but for the most part we shot with one camera, which means like if we were shooting what we're doing now, I would probably shoot over my shoulder and you would be in there, and then I would do the reciprocal shot over your shoulder to me. So you repeat the same dialogue, do that. Well, one of the things you learn is that sometimes I don't need to stay on the guy that's talking because I need to get the reaction of the other actor. So sometimes you need to do that, and maybe I could have done that even more, but sometimes that person that Bob is playing off of, you need to get their reaction to that because it's part of the joke as well.
Right.
Like
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, speaking of that, talk me through your casting process. So, you had a pretty moderate sized cast for this. How did you go about the casting process, and who were some of the people you picked for these roles?
Okay, so first of all, there's no doubt Bob you had to get Bob right.
You had to get, yep.
And so this young guy, William Harris, he's based in Melbourne, but he's all over the country all the time.
Okay.
He's a motocross rider, and he also films for this network. He films motocross races. He does camera work and stuff like that, but he also participates in some. And I saw this thing of him with a jet ski, like jumping it up and doing all this kind of stuff. So then I talked to him, and he ended up being perfect. Here's the thing that's really good. He understood what I had written. I didn't have to always explain to him, this is because sometimes you think this is obvious, but it may not be obvious to another person because they're not inside your head.
Right.
But he was on the same wavelength. And so he was, it was great, got him, and he did a great job. And he could do anything, jump off the boat or anything we need to do because that wasn't a big deal to him. And then Christy, she's now got her own film production company, has written her own movie, sold,
wow.
I think she sold a script to Hallmark.
Christy was Hannah.
Christy is Hannah.
Okay, yeah.
And her last name is DeMario. And she's already sold a script to Hallmark. But anyway, I got her from
a Christmas movie or.
She was in a Christmas movie.
Oh, was she? What
She's been in. She had a bit in a I think a Hallmark film.
Oh,
and then
man.
she had just started her. She had really kind of just started her career, I think, when she got with
My
us.
girlfriend loves those Hallmark Christmas. I'm gonna have to tell her.
Oh.
She's gonna freak out.
Christy wrote one because she loves them. She loves the Hallmark Christmas movies. So, and then Sarah, on my short film Orchid Island, it was maybe a 20-minute rom-com, and she had just a really bit part where she didn't even say anything in there, but she kind of had the look and everything, so I talked to her. I got Eric, the guy that plays Dr. The doctor.
Oh yeah. I clocked him. I was like, he's a bad guy. Like right there at the very beginning, I was like, see, it's the accent. It's the accent.
Yeah. My wife and I do that. We're watching some
spoilers for the movie.
We're watching some kind of crime drama or something. My wife, he's gonna be bad. But so he's from roughly the Miami area, and he's got a lot of experience. And I thought he actually had a British accent, but he doesn't. He just didn't get. Then the guy, everybody wanted to play the Hammerhead. So there's a character that's a mercenary creature hunter, and so that was a role that everybody wanted to play. And then everybody was local though. Pretty much from somewhere in Florida, Central Florida.
How'd you go about the casting call? Did you post it somewhere, or what was the process for that?
And by the way, Brock Nicholson is Hammerhead. Let me say that.
Brock Nicholson. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can go online. The thing I used the most was a site called Backstage.
Okay.
And you basically put out what you're doing, what you're looking for, and actors can respond.
Okay.
And send you and reply to you and say. And so then what I do, again, indie filmmaking, no budget filmmaking, different. I do a lot of you give them sides, which are small chunks of the script. You have them read it. A lot of times they'll do it with somebody else, just feed them lines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, do it with your phone. I don't care. They send those in, and you initially go there, and then probably a phone call, maybe a FaceTime and stuff like that. In indie filmmaking, on a feature film, you don't have a lot of time to rehearse.
Yeah.
So really, what I do is we shoot the rehearsals. You may tell you may not tell the cast, the actors, that the camera's actually on, but you're shooting the rehearsal.
because you might get a good take out of that.
You might get your best take,
Yeah.
and so we don't, because you don't have that much time.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much how we got the cast, and then the crew I contacted Full Sail University in
Orlando, right?
Orlando.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
it's like a film art school. Yeah.
And Christian Rodriguez was the DP, the director of photography, and we had a guy, Mike, and I'm trying to think. Forgive me, Mike, but he did the audio, and that was pretty much how we put the cast and crew together.
So, what were some of the biggest challenges you came across? Well, oh man, I touched on something.
Okay.
You're like, what wasn't a challenge, right?
So I've already mentioned the beach. So
Yeah, the sound on the beach. Yeah.
And a lot of times we were shooting till early in the morning, and I mean real early in the morning.
Yeah.
Because it took place at night. It's pretty much taking place pretty close to real time, like Jack Bauer 24. It's almost like that. So the beach, the noise, the waves. We had a camera set up in a place where it was dry, but we weren't thinking. We were there a while. Guess what? It's suddenly standing. We've got a camera standing in water. You gotta like grab that.
Yeah.
So we shot on the beach at night.
Yeah.
There's no practical lights. So a practical is like if you're in a bedroom and there's a lamp on, sometimes they use that as part of the shot because you have to have a motivation. Are you familiar? I don't know if you're familiar with this, but like if you're out on the beach and everybody's just totally perfectly lit, it's kind of like, well, where's this light coming from?
Yeah.
So we kind of rigged something up to make it look like under this pier they had some lights that were just there normally. So we use that.
Okay. Just
the
use your environment to your advantage, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
The suit was a problem because every once in a while we had to just let him get out of the suit because he was soaking wet.
I couldn't imagine. Plus he's got the makeup on underneath that to kind of cover the facial features and stuff. So that was probably
he had to do.
So he probably had like that running into his eyes as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, and so then other things like that is we shot some blue screen, green screen, blue screen. We use blue, but for some of the in the car scenes, yes, never shoot blue screen.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, because basically I had some of the special effects done from guys overseas. I had one guy in Yugoslavia or whatever it's currently called. I don't mean to be disrespectful. Well, whatever Yugoslavia is currently, I had one guy there and one guy in another country that did some of the special effects. But I basically ended up like having to fix some of the footage with the blue screen to kind of.
Was that during the car scene, you said?
Yeah, during the car scene. So when you're shooting, so we shot the car sideways on my driveway with a blue screen behind it.
Okay.
And you shoot from one side. We shot all the shots of Hannah driving from one side. We turn the car around, and we shoot the other side for Bob, who's in the car with her. Okay.
Okay.
So then what you
had to do it twice.
Then what you do is you tell the computer remove the blue out of the window, and then you have to drop another video track in there for the running road.
Right.
So, on my time frame, the other thing is the schedule for this was to shoot it in 2 weeks. That's insane.
That is a crazy
That's
amount
insane.
of time.
So everybody was pretty much exhausted.
Say, did everybody have to like take 2 weeks off of like their day jobs and everything to come out to do this?
It worked to where some people had some flexibility, and we worked around some people. We were going to shoot this night, and we said, okay, we'll just move this for you because work's a conflict. That's the other thing when you're doing indie movies. Pretty much everybody you're working with has a full-time gig.
Yeah.
So that's scheduling. That's kind of, I would say challenges too. I enjoy writing. I love directing. I I played a lot of sports. I was a police officer. Somebody asked me when I stopped being a police officer, will you miss it? I said, I won't miss the politics, but I'll miss the camaraderie that you kind of have.
Yeah.
And so I love the team thing from sports and that.
But it carries over to filmmaking.
And all of us we still talk, we chat and stuff like that. And I love all these guys. They're kind of like my kids now.
Yeah.
Everybody's younger.
You guys all stay in touch and everything now? Yeah.
Not like, we're not.
We don't hang out every weekend.
We don't do that. But we're chatting, and if somebody has something coming up, a new project, it's kind of like, hey, maybe you could be in this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you submitted this at the Vero Film Festival in April, I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was the reception? How did it do?
We had a packed house.
Nice.
Nice. They gave Susan Keller and David that run the film festival here, and they do a great job. It's it's one of the better film festivals. I've been to different ones in the U.S., and I would say it's really good. People should come out. They make it a big event, and I love how they kind of really treat the filmmakers. It's great. But so yeah, they were nice enough to put us on Friday night at about 7:30. That's kind of to me prime time.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So we were over there in the theater. I'm trying to remember the name. That's by the airport. They do a lot of live drama there.
The Theater Guild.
Yeah, the Theater Guild.
Yeah.
So we were in there, and the whole house was packed, and people laughed. Man, there's nothing like being in the back of that room and going, man, I sure hope people laugh.
Oh yeah, it's because you poured yourself into that, man, and people don't laugh. Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I hear people say this, and I don't think people realize it, but being a stand-up comedian, that's hard. That's got to be, because if you're up there, it's you, and if people don't laugh. And I kind of felt a little bit of that, I thought, back then.
Yeah, I mean, even though you're not on stage, you kind of are. It's like, you're not up there delivering lines, but your being is up on stage right now.
When I was, in my full-time job, like I worked at a university, if I had somebody that worked for me and they screwed something up, I would tell my boss, I screwed it up. I would say it's my responsibility, because ultimately it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so in that situation, ultimately, I'm responsible for what's on that screen. You know what I'm saying? And it was a joy, and it was great. And people laughed a lot. at it, and we've got it on Vimeo now where people can watch it,
Right.
and you know, people watch it here and there. But
Do you get notified every time somebody watches it, or?
yeah, eventually I do because you rent it for like $4 or you can buy it for $10. I'm not trying to sell anything.
Yeah.
Although,
But you can watch it on Vimeo right now. Bob from Vero Beach. Sorry, go ahead.
Appreciate it.
I'll if you won't be that guy, I'll plug it for you.
I appreciate it. But what I'll get is, I get a statement because eventually they settle up with me and it tells me how many people have watched it. And it's not like all of China has not watched it yet.
Oh, of course,
But that is funny. I know at least one person I saw one person overseas somewhere watch it. That was pretty cool. I thought.
Well, that's pretty cool to look at the analytics and stuff. Yeah, very very nice. Was there any local businesses here that kind of helped you out while you were filming it?
Well, one of them, oh man, I can't remember the name, but there's a real estate company that owns, the old pier, you know what I'm talking about? It's the back of like a living, it looks like a hotel. It's north of JC Park.
You mean like the jetty out there? Or not?
There's this one pier that goes way out.
Like okay, I know, yeah.
But it's attached to the back of this building that is now like a private living community.
Oh, okay. All right.
They let us.
They let you
kind of go out there. So they let us. And let me think about this. We used one of the local boat rental companies, and I'm sorry, I should have had the names in front of me, but I'm
pretty sure that was in the credits.
It's in the credits. Yeah. All these are in the credits.
Yeah.
And we did get a permit from the city of Vero Beach. And so Vero Beach, those people are really nice to work with us.
Yeah.
So
cool. I gotta say, if I had, okay, I'm gonna let you guess, just for fun. Who do you think my favorite character from the movie was? And I'll tell you this, believe it or not, it wasn't Bob. Take a wild swing, and I'll let you know if you're right.
Hammerhead.
No.
Who is it?
Hector. Hector was my favorite. I mean, for the guy that had the least, probably like one of the least amounts, except for maybe his buddy, maybe had a little bit less screen time. But for the guy who had like probably the least amount of screen time, made me laugh more than anybody else in it. I think it was just he had the zingers, he had the one-liners. That's probably a credit to you because you wrote his lines, obviously. But he was cracking me up. Whoever that actor is, he's very talented.
That's Adrian Manzano he's from Miami. He is a stand-up comedy.
Is he really?
And he's done his own films and stuff like that. But yeah, I tell you what, we shot that. I got up at 5 in the morning. In the morning, as soon as the sun came up, we shot the climactic scene on the water with the boats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we kept going all day, and we were shooting that at like 11 o'clock at night. We ended up shooting into the morning.
Yeah.
When I got home. Then when I got home, we got up and shot again the next morning. But yeah, and so you remember the movie The Great Outdoors? John Candy?
Yes, and Steve Martin, I think. Yeah. No, Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
So remember the scene where the raccoons come to the trash can?
yes.
And they're having the captions.
Yeah.
So I kind of and we've seen this also. Also, I would say the movie Goonies, which I love. I have a T-shirt. Every time I wear my Goonies T-shirts, people say I love that. Remember how Corey Feldman is translating, but he's not translating right.
We'll throw you in the basement and feed you cockroaches or something
like that. And when the mom is interviewing
the housekeeper.
So that scene there, because it has captions, because I had him speaking Spanish.
Right.
So that's kind of, I just thought it would be I thought that added to it, and he did do a great job, and he gave it his all. Another thing I would say about that is all this is coming back to me as you're asking questions. So the guy that plays it's Hector and Luis, right? Luis,
I think it might have been Luis. Yeah. Luis gets eaten.
So the guy that played Luis is Christian Rodriguez, who filmed the entire film. But the guy that was going to play Luis, something happened. His car got towed in Orlando. I had the whole cast and crew out there.
Did you only do like one day of filming for those two characters? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one night.
Yeah.
So this is what you have to do in independent filmmaking.
Yeah.
But so he doesn't show up. Thankfully, Christian is bilingual.
Right.
And he's done some acting. He's an incredible dancer. In between takes, he would be doing all this like New York. If you go to New York City, the street performers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would start, and Will would start doing it. We have actually
that's great.
behind the scenes video of him and Will.
I was going to
in a
ask
suit.
you if there was any kind of fun behind the scenes story.
Yeah.
That sounds like one of them.
So anyway, I go, hey man, can you play Luis? Because I had all those people there, and I had to pay him and all, you know.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I think so. And so now I'm directing and running the camera, and he's acting. And him, they did a great job.
Yeah, those two were great, man. Probably my favorite. I mean, and then all the other actors were great too, but that was, I think, like those two and Hector in particular, probably my favorite addition to the film. Was there something that you wanted to say with Bob from Vero Beach, or was it just kind of meant to be just a fun kind of family comedy?
Okay, so I am a follower of Christ, but I don't make what would be considered faith-based films.
Sure.
I applaud people that make faith-based, they make stuff that people want, people that come from, a Christian worldview, they want to see those kinds of things and they provide it. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
My thinking is just a little different, that I want to make something that's really entertaining, and then I like to have something in there to cause people to think. To think about, what there is beyond what we can feel and touch, see and touch, and to think about God, think about the condition of their soul. So really what I do is, I told people when I talk to the actors, my main point is I want this to be entertaining. It is going to be clean. Hopefully it's not going to be childish, and some of the I do think some of the jokes are kind of sophisticated in a sense that, a child wouldn't get it. There may be some angle or something you have to know. But and then, there's a scene with Sarah in the movie. She had lost her dad. That's in the film. I don't think I'm giving away too much.
Yeah.
But and she, she questioned God and everything about that. So I guess my thing is, I like to help people. Maybe I like to inspire questions, and not hit them on the nose with it so much.
Oh yeah, I know what scene you're talking about now, and now that you mentioned, I'm like, oh, there's a little message in there. It's not like you said, it's not overt, it doesn't hit you across the face or anything like that, but it's a nice little subtle kind of hopeful message that that those two characters convey in that film, I thought. So, I appreciated that. That was nice.
Yeah, and Bob, Bob ends up being, he's this wisecracking guy.
Almost a brother, I think.
Him and her film, they do a bond, like they are brother and sister, know. And I think that was pretty. And Sarah just did a great job. Sarah, I saw her really grow, I think, as an actor from when we started to when we got done. I had seen a lot of growth in her, and she did a great job. Yeah. Because, that's not easy, because there are some scenes where she's emotional and she's talking about some deeper things. And if you're not careful, it can be cliche, or it can be syrupy, or it can be cheesy.
Or the drama of it could kind of pull down the mood if you're not careful.
So, and that's one of the hard things, too, is after that, segueing back into, okay, this is silly, you know what I'm saying? So I think everybody, and Will did a great job as Bob that as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me ask you this. Do you foresee there being a sequel one day ever? Or no? Looks like there might have been a sequel at the end of it. So will we ever see the return of Bob, or maybe Bob in a short someday?
Isn't there after the ending credits?
There's a little bit after.
It says Bob will return in Revenge of the Mermaid.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was almost chuckling when I was watching this morning. I was like, Bob will return. I was like, in the Avengers? Is he going to be in Avengers?
I think I think the one Christy is this awesome young lady. She's really something. And just a really sweet, kind woman, and she. And she really loved it. She loves acting and the process. And she would do it in a heartbeat. Will, who was in the suit the whole time,
maybe not so much.
I assure you, he'd say, "You're gonna have to pay me a lot more." Yeah. But I bet everybody seemed. They all said, at least they said to me. Maybe they felt like, but everybody came. Pretty much, almost everybody came to the premiere. And we had a great time there. We had it was like a premiere for us at the film festival. Yeah. And everybody seemed to have a great time for the most part. So
that's great.
I try to that's my favorite part, the experience of being there with everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes writing, people ask, well, what about writing? That can be really hard.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you keep revising it. You have to revise,
Absolutely.
revise. That's why sometimes these things, I come back to them and then I come back to them. But it was a great experience.
Yeah.
And I do my best. One of the things that's important to me is I try to treat people with respect and kindness and practice what I preach. There was one night actually where I really lost my patience with an actor, and I had to go back and apologize to that actor, and that's all you can do. But overall, I think it was a great experience.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you one final question as we're kind of winding down here. But what's next? You mentioned you have some short films coming down the pipeline. What's next for you?
Okay, well, I do have another feature that I want to make, but it'll probably be another year. Oh, my wife.
I was gonna say you gotta talk to your wife first.
My wife was like, "This nearly killed you," and I would say about that before I get to the other. For me, making a feature film, like I played baseball. I played a little baseball in college, and if I could have pitched a few pitches, like for the Atlanta Braves, I'm a Braves fan.
Yeah.
If I could have done that, nobody could ever take that away from me, right?
Right.
I pitched in a major league stadium.
Absolutely.
And everybody said he had a cup of coffee. He was only there. I pitched him. So for me, my wife is really supportive. She's an awesome woman. We've been married a lot of years, and she was so supportive of the film, and she brags on me more than anybody and everything.
Oh,
but
nice.
then at home she's like, no, never again.
Never. Yeah.
But I do have another feature. Called Realms of Light and Darkness, which is
fun.
But totally different than this.
Yeah.
It's it has to do with, it's got an inspirational vein in it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a really hardcore dealing with drug lords and stuff like that. But a short film that I'm hoping to have in this coming year's Vero Beach Film Festival is called Scarlet Reckoning.
Okay.
And it's about a guy that murders his wife to be with his mistress.
Yeah.
But his wife maybe won't stay dead. So anyway,
I like it.
she shows up.
Sounds very much like an old Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt kind of episode.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, I love
that
it.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that too, and then we'll see from there.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, Rod, man, thanks so much for coming into the studio, hanging out with me for a little bit today. I enjoyed hearing about the behind-the-scene process for Bob from Vero Beach, man.
I appreciate you having me. It was great.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, guys, we'll see you on the beach. Take care.